last time the Sabercats were in New Orleans, they were wrapping up a third Arena Bowl championship. Today in their return, a tough host awaits with a resurgent VooDoo squad that has serious dreams of playing for the title in their home city.
Down on the Bayou, another road game for the San Jose Sabercats as they come to New Orleans, Louisiana to face a revitalized VooDoo squad as San Jose looking for another road win and trying to move 4-2. Hello everybody, Bob Fitzgerald alongside Steve Pappen, and for the Sabercats, last time they were in this building at the New Orleans Arena, they won their third championship. I would imagine the Crescent City always a little special.
At New Orleans Arena, Bob Fitzgerald, Steve Pappen with you. Sabercats will get the ball first here as Alex Romero set to kick off from his own goal line. Unfamiliar with arena football, a 50-yard field ridden entirely by the hockey dasher boards. 2 8-yard end zones and a 40 by 42-foot pitchback that's hanging in the end zone. Romero kicking deep to Treston George, bouncing off the net. And George at the 5. Looking for a block, and Treston George rides the jet wash out to the 15-yard line. And that's where the Sabercats will set up shop. And good to see Treston, after missing the last 2 weeks, Steve, putting Mark Grebe and the Sabercats pretty decent position, 1st and 10 of their own 15.
Yeah, getting Treston back after missing last week is big for the Sabercats, big for this offense, because he's going to give you chances to start your offense in decent field position and gives Grebe a little bit more chance to be relaxed in the first play.
Well, Josh Ritchie, Clenard Santil, and Jason Gathers, 3 brand new receivers essentially for the Sabercats due to injury. Grebe on first down, firing to Santil, and he'll have a gain of about 8. And Mark Grebe has done an amazing job with a kind of Rubik's Cube of receivers each and every week, and still putting up quality numbers.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Mark Grebe. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game, and as you mentioned with the Rubik's Cube effect, he always has different receivers, but nothing changes. He always stays up to par.
So for the Sabercats on 2nd down, Santil, the motion man, will screen pass out to Josh Ritchie. And Ritchie, a little waggle, and he'll have the first down into VooDoo territory at the 21. And our starting lineups brought to you by Symantec. Grebe and Frank Carter at the fullback. Vince Amy, the veteran, with Dan Loney, Obang up front. Santil, Josh Ritchie, and Jason Gathers. And I would think a little screen, a way to get Josh Ritchie in his first arena football game. The butterflies out.
Yeah, you give him the ball early, you put it in his hands, let him see what he can do. And now he's relaxed. Now he can play football.
1st and 10 Sabercats at the VooDoo 21, opening possession of the ball game. Grebe looking deep into the end zone for Gathers, and just in and out of his hands. A little hand fighting in the end zone with Calvin Spears.
You know, one thing about this, Fitz, it's a little bit different. Is you're used to seeing that motion right there by Gathers go all the way over if that's James Rowe, but the new receivers and new defensive packages that you can put in, now you're going to try and see, you're going to see Gathers on that wall a little bit more one-on-one like you just did.
So 2nd and 10 for the Sabercats. 3-2 on the season. New Orleans at 4-1. They've won 4 straight. Grebe over the middle, firing to Santil at the 10, and he'll be marked for another first down. So Clenard Santil, who has been the money man even with Rodney Wright and James Rowe, and Mark Grebe looking pretty sharp early.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Clenard's been able to do. He's been able to not be in the shadows of James Rowe and Rodney Wright. He's been able to step up, and now with those 2 out for tonight's ballgame, he really has to shine and carry the other 2 on this Sabercat offense.
Santil, the slot man. Gathers in the left, and he'll be the motion man. Remember, in arena football, you can zoom or go towards the line of scrimmage in motion. On first down, firing out to Ritchie. And he sucks up that space inside the 5-yard line, just knocked out of bounds by Chris Brown. And 1st and goal, Sabercats. Now here's the thing. Are they able to run the ball? Because in recent weeks, San Jose, that normal good running game, no Brian Johnson at the fullback tonight. Passing or running here inside the 5.
I think if it's Terry Malley, you're going to see some sort of run at some point because that's just the makeup of the Sabercat offense. He's not going to abandon it.
Well, Frank Carter is the fullback with trips to the left. They move Ritchie in motion, fake the handoff. Grebe rolling, looking, lofting. Clenard Santil, touchdown Sabercats. There is a flag on the play in the end zone. That may be on New Orleans for moving illegally defensively, and here's the call. Perry Havner. So the holding decline. The Sabercats opening possession, drive right down the field, and a beautiful rollout.
Yeah, you know, they're known to run the ball here in San Jose, and what they do here is a little play action. Grebe gets a little fake to the Josh Ritchie, sprints outside, hits Clenard for the touchdown.
A.J. Hagelin continues to be perfect, 35 of 35 on PATs. San Jose up 7-0, 11-19 remaining in the first quarter, and the Sabercats on the board first. Mark Grebe, very crisp opening drive, 5 of 6 for 35 yards, and 24 of those to Clenard Santil. A.J. Hagelin kicking it deep. Taken out at the 2-yard line. Wendell Williams is brought down at the 6. A good special teams coverage by Steve Watson, who he wears Walter Payton's number. But if you want to watch a defensive play in an offensive game, Watson will play the plugger or that linebacker spot. End to end, I like the Lawrence Taylor of arena football. I love watching Steve Watson.
One thing about Steve that he has that, you know, if you're watching from home and you've never seen him live, he has a tremendous motor. He goes 100 miles an hour every single play. I had the pleasure of coaching against him when he was with the Arkansas Twitchers in the AF2, and that was the one thing on him is he went at an unbelievable pace.
Danny Wimpreme out of Memphis, a Louisiana native, took over from Steve Balisari, the former Ohio State quarterback. Week 1, he's undefeated now as a starter. And Wimpreme on first down off his back foot, looking sideline, and incomplete. James Jordan out of Louisiana Tech locked up with Omar Smith there, and that's kind of a spot throw, isn't it, Steve? You just throw and hope the receiver can run to that spot.
Yeah, that's one of those plays. It does a number of things. Jordan had a tremendous game last year against the Sabercats. It was his breakout, a career day against San Jose, and what they did there is they tried and get him on that same path again there. He's a much bigger receiver than Omar is a DB, so that was, like you said, a spot pass. Let him go get it. James
Jordan is the money man for the VooDoo. Their leading receiver, leading touchdowns, leading yardage. On 2nd and 10, Wimpreme off his back foot again, looking for Jordan again, and Cleveland Thomas hand fighting downfield, and the pass incomplete, and Cleveland turned to find the football.
Yeah, that's one thing that Cleveland's been doing for years, Fitz. He's going to take that man to the line of scrimmage. He's going to read his body language. He's not going to look until the receiver's hands come up. He's not going to go with the eyes, and that's the one thing about a new quarterback. Even though you've played in this league, you haven't seen this kind of defense in the 4 games that he's played, so it's going to be a little difficult for him to get on track tonight.
Opportunity for the Sabercat defense. It's 3rd and 10. Inside 10 minutes in the opening quarter. Wimpreme dropping back to pass. Off his back foot again. Wide open is Dudley. 15-10, and he will walk in as Marquise Floyd fell down on the play. Marquise Floyd falling down. Javaris Dudley breaking free, and that was essentially a punch. Throw it downfield, let him run underneath it.
Yeah, that's the one thing the teams are going to start doing, or have been doing all season. They're trying to pick on Marquise. They figure, you know, Omar and Cleveland are the best. And here, you know, Marquise he's reading the guy down. He's reading down. And right here, if you see in this thing in the replay, he just bit on the out move. Easy touchdown for the VooDoo. But if you're San Jose, you're not too worried because that was a blown coverage. It wasn't a guy just beating a defender.
But a blown coverage instead of a 3rd down stop. Alex Romero putting the kick up and good, and just like that, the VooDoo working the magic that they do in this building where they are undefeated. And we're tied at 7. Now this has always been a very tough place to play. New Orleans in their 4th year in franchise existence. And the Sabercats have been to New Orleans before. And remember this, Steve, Friday the 13th. Mark Grebe would still be upended with the 4 turnovers, but that was the last time the Sabercats lost, and they faced Steve Balisari and not Wimpreen in that game.
I remember being here last year, Friday the 13th, and after that game, I remember on the bus ride to the airport, I told Coach Arbet, you're fine. You're going to be okay. That was a wake-up game, and as you saw there on the stats, that they didn't lose another game. They came back here. It wasn't against New Orleans, but they won their 3rd championship.
But the 4 turnovers in that game, I think that's going to be the issue for San Jose. When you have inexperienced receivers, do they read the same thing the quarterback does? Do you have miscommunication? Do you give away empty possessions?
You can. There can be chances of that happening, but if you know Terry Malley, you know his system and the way San Jose's offense is a progression offense. It's not going to focus on one guy. So if one guy has a fumble or something like that, it's going to be a situation where Mark Grebe is one of the smartest quarterbacks in all of football, not just arena football. So he's going to really take his time to throw the ball and make sure he gets these receivers on the same page with himself. 4th
meeting in series history tonight, and there have been some good ones, and the Sabercats have yet to beat the VooDoo in New Orleans. Now, as Steve mentioned, they did win the Arena Bowl against Columbus on this very same field. Arena Bowl will be here again this year, which is a nice setup for the Arena Football League.
You know, Fitz, one thing about that stat, New Orleans is probably one of the only, a few of the teams in the Arena Football that can say they hold the win advantage over the Sabercats.
Yeah, it's true. So Alex Romero going to kick it deep to Treston George. My partner Steve Pappen was as good a kick returner as this league has ever seen. And see what Treston has in store. End over end. That's a live ball, and smartly knocked into the end zone by Omar Smith. And if you're new to arena football, that would have been what they call a net recovery. Once it hits the net and then the ground, it's free for either team. It's the most dangerous play in the game.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for that return guy because he's got his back to the ball coming. His up protector, Omar Smith, does a great job right here of protecting him and getting rid of that ball and making sure it doesn't become a safety or a touchdown for the VooDoo. And I give Treston George and these returners all the credit in the world because when I played, we had big guys running down, so it was a little bit easier. Now you got skilled guys coming down, and it makes it a little tougher to return the kicks, but Treston does a great job at it.
On the touchback, the ball comes out to the 5-yard line. 2nd possession for the Sabercats. Jason Gathers the motion man. Grebe firing out in a flat. He's got Gathers sucking up room out to the 20-yard line. And Jason Gathers out of Miami in his 2nd year, and big target for Mark Grebe at 6'2", 205.
Yeah, JG, as we call him, is a great athlete. He's a big target for Mark Grebe. He's strong, he's fast, and you know he's gotten a chance to learn from James Rowe over the 2 years. And you know, whenever you can learn from James Rowe, you're going to be a great player yourself.
18th catch on the season, already has a couple touchdowns. 1st and 10, San Jose, midway through the 1st, and tied at 7. Little screen to Ritchie again. And Josh Ritchie to the wall. And that's one thing, Steve, the short side screen, when you're running with the ball, the wall never loses, and the defender's coming to rack you into it. It takes an incredible amount of toughness.
Yeah, you got to be tough for that because, like you said, the league's been around 20 years and the wall has never fallen. So, you know, in those situations, you want to kind of get back into the field to stay away from the wall, but then you got to realize you got 250-pound guys coming to knock you into the wall.
So 2nd and 5. They'll move Gathers in motion again, looping around in that zoom motion. Grebe stepping up, lofting, diving attempt, and incomplete. Only the 2nd incompletion for the Sabercats as Gathers stretched out, couldn't come down with it.
Yeah, with that new rule change about the jack linebacker being able to run side to side, you're going to see more plays like this where, you know, Mark Grebe is going to go through his progression. He's going to try and get JG on the other side of the field where he's only in man-to-man coverage because now you're getting a lot of zone coverage. So the deep passes in arena football are going to kind of become null and void.
Now New Orleans converted on their 3rd and 10. It's 3rd and 5 for the Sabercats. Santillo will back up and come in zoom motion. On 3rd down from midfield. Grebe on the pump fake. Throws back to Gathers. Fighting for the 1st down. It will depend on where they spot it. Now his forward progress seems to be much farther than where they put the ball down.
Bad spot.
So that will bring up a 4th down. Gathers appeared to get inside the 20. But 4th and less than a yard, and Darren Arbet has a choice.
No choice at all. You got the best field goal kicker in the league, but it's still no choice. They're going to go for this, no questions about it.
The clock runs on 4th and less than 1. Frank Carter, the fullback. Santil in motion. Reeves going to pass on fourth down. A flag on the play. Firing into the end zone and incomplete and nearly picked off. Now we'll wait on the hanky here. They came simultaneous with the snap, and you may have had the VooDoo offsides.
I think you're going to get the Mac in the neutral zone.
And that is the call, Steve. As Umar Muhammad, you see, you have the Mac, the Jack, the Jill linebacker, all different names, but that linebacker cannot be moving forward towards the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped.
No, he's got to stay in that imaginary box behind the front three linemen and in the 5-yard radius. And what teams do is they get riled up on 3rd and 4th down, and they try and get that jump, you know, because it helps them out to attack the offense.
So the penalty gives the Sabercats a huge first down. Reed dropping back, stumbled coming away from center, firing, picked off. Picked off by Calvin Spears, room to run, and Spears picked for 6. We talk about the VooDoo leading the league in interceptions, leading the league in the takeaway margin. Sabercats denied the touchdown. New Orleans takes it to the house.
Yeah, and here goes Calvin Spears. He's leading the league in interceptions himself, and what he does is he knows he has help with the new rule from the Jack linebacker helping him on the short route, so all he does now is he cheats over to the middle of the field. Mark Reed doesn't see him looking for Clenard Santil, and he picks it off and then makes it to pay dirt.
Reed kind of stumbled coming away from center and didn't get enough mustard on that pass. Romero on for the PAT. Get a good look at that 9-foot wide opening to the goalpost. No problem for Alex Romero. And New Orleans, something about this building, something about the VooDoo name, and something about takeaways. A pick for 6 by Calvin Spears, and New Orleans moves on top. Mark Reed picked off 13th interception of the season for the VooDoo. They move on top 14-7. Sabercats will be home at HP Pavilion, and HP will be very busy. A new time change because of Sharks playoff hockey. John Bon Jovi's Philadelphia Soul will be there. First 5,000 fans get a championship pennant from Sharp, but that originally listed at a 7:30 kick could be kicked off at 8:45. So Sharks hockey, and then the Sabercats. And a busy day at HP on Saturday night. So now Treston George, a kick returner, can be your quarterback's best friend after you throw the pick for 6.
Yeah, right here, he's got to get a good return. He's got to give Mark Reed a little breathing room to shake the last play off.
Romero, high, booming kick. Treston George fields it cleanly. George looking for a block. And strung out nicely by the VooDoo. Excellent special teams work downfield by Norman Lejeune, a rookie out of LSU.
And you see that there, Bob. Belisario, the backup quarterback, in on the tackle.
Well, those Ohio State guys are tough. Said, hey, I'm a backup quarterback. You can only suit up 20 in arena football. He says, let me run down on special teams.
Let me go get in on some of the action.
So what is Green thinking now? Perfect drive, you're moving down, you throw the pick for 6, and now it's bounce back time.
Be patient. That's what he's thinking. Just be patient and get a completion to get the team back rolling.
On first down, Reed firing out in the flat. Clenard Santil, and I like that. You know, he's got the wiggle, but lean forward, get 3 or 4 more yards. Don't run sideways as much on first down. Make it 2nd and short, kind of a free play.
You don't want to go sideways too much because we touched on earlier. Those walls are out there. So you want to, get what you can. And like we said, these guys have to make a tackle. You might go forward and squeeze through there, and now he's off and running. So that was a good job by Clenard.
So on 2nd down, call it a short 4. Sabercats trying to bounce back after the turnover for the touchdown. Reeve under pressure, running for his life, and fired it low, and a good catch by Jason Gathers. Now he doesn't have the first down, but he makes it 3rd and very short. And that was kind of a lineman bust. That was what they call the lookout block. Look out, here he goes.
Vince Amy's only been here for a few weeks. He's new to the system. He's new to what's going on. And you better believe New Orleans did their homework. They've seen which guy over there is we call the fish, which is the new guy, and they're going to probably try and attack him all night long.
Vince Amy's been in the league for 7 years out of Arizona State. Signed after Julius Gant was injured. On 3rd and 1. Grebe looking. He's got Gathers first down in midfield, and Gathers and more into VooDoo territory. Shoved into the wall and out of bounds at the New Orleans 20-yard line, and third down conversions, a way to build confidence for the offense.
Yeah, and one thing you're going to see here is you don't have James Rowe, but Jason Gathers is playing that same spot. And on third down, 9 times out of 10, San Jose would usually go to James Rowe because he knows how to read the defense. And Jason Gathers did a great job right there of reading the secondary and sitting down and being an easy target for Mark Reed.
Is it wrong that I wince whenever I see someone run into the wall?
No, not at all. I mean, you can only hope they don't get hurt.
On first down, Grebe firing to Clenard Santil, diving down to the 8-yard line. And so first and goal for the Sabercats. And I tell you, Santil's an interesting player in that 6'1", 190. And in open space, he's spectacular, but as a possession receiver, he's really growing.
Yeah, he's coming into his own. He's coming into an age where he watches James Rowe. He's there to practice with him every week. He sees these bigger guys around the league, and he's a student of the game. He wants to get better every week.
Santil already with 5 catches. First and goal. Grebe looking, firing in and out of the hands of Gathers. Sabercats got away with a hold there as it appeared that Justin Brown was taken down before he got to Mark Grebe.
Is there any way here I can change my keys to the game? I said the San Jose Sabercats need to get to the VooDoo quarterback, and I want to change where they need to protect Mark Grebe a little bit. They're getting some pressure on him. They're making him move from side to side, and Grebe wants to be comfortable when he's sitting in that pocket.
Second and goal from the 8-yard line. Approaching the final minute of the first, so running clock in arena football. Grebe off his back foot. Santil couldn't come down with it.
And you said it again there, Fitz, off his back foot. You know, if Grebe can set in that pocket and throw that ball in there, that would have been a touchdown. And that's one thing I'm sure Terry's going to address when they come off here. You know, he's got time there. Pressure comes from his inside. He gets it off. And I thought Santil made a great catch here, but no, I guess he doesn't hold on to that wall sitting there waiting on him.
Good play by Lynn J. Shell to stay with Santil. So here we go, third and goal from the 8. Sabercats down a touchdown. Winding down the first quarter. Grebe looking. He will run at the 5, and Mark brought down at the 4. And credit the New Orleans secondary. When you get inside the red zone, which in arena football is inside the 10, there's not a lot of throwing angles. There's a lot of bodies in a confined space, and nobody was open.
Yeah, and with the new rule of the Jack Mack Jill linebacker being able to run from sideline to sideline, a lot of teams, what they do down here is they play 5 across. They're going to play their 3 defensive backs in a zone coverage, and they're going to use their 2 linebackers to shallow the underneath routes, and I think that's what happened there.
Sabercats lining up for a field goal, but that will end the first quarter. So San Jose with the 1 turnover, and it was a big one, returned the distance by Calvin Spears. After the first 15 minutes, it is New Orleans up 14-7, and the Sabercats knocking on the door at the 4-yard line. Bob Fitzgerald, Steve Pappen with you in New Orleans, Louisiana, inside the New Orleans Arena. Get ready for the second quarter of Sabercat football, brought to you by Symantec. With New Orleans up 14-7, San Jose the 1 pick for 6, and now A.J. Haglund on for what essentially would be the length of a PAT. He'll spot it at the 11 with the 8-yard end zone, called a 19-yard field goal attempt. Scott Rizlov, the backup quarterback, is the holder. So on 4th down, Haglund's kick is up and good. So A.J. remains perfect, but that's a win for the VooDoo defense. They keep the Sabercats out of the end zone, hold them to the field goal.
Yeah, one thing about this league is you always hear people say if we get 3 stops, we'll win the ball game. Right now, the New Orleans VooDoo have 2 stops. They got an interception, and a field goal is considered a stop. So they're looking pretty good, and I understand the Sabercats' choice for going for the field goal right there. The VooDoo are #1 in the league in red zone defense, so you want to get some points, get your offense settled down a little bit.
And for the Sabercats, they make the mistake on the interception, but they also had the 1 pass completed for 47 yards on a broken coverage. If you miss any part of the Sabercats, want to watch it again, Comcast On Demand, a free service. Access Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area programming. On demand, go to Channel 1, select Sports and Fitness, and select San Jose Sabercats football. So for San Jose, down 14-10 on the road. But you're looking at Danny Wimprine. He's 1 of 3 for 47 yards. He had the one broken coverage. Sabercat offense has been on the field for a long time.
Yeah, we really haven't had a chance to see what Danny's about, against the Sabercat defense. He looked a little rusty in the first 2 throws, and in his 3rd throw, a blown coverage, he gets a touchdown. Now, that can either work in either way. He can either get more confidence from that, or now he might be looking for the big play every chance he throws the ball.
Get the idea here is A.J. Haglin's going to kick it off from his own goal line. Wendell Williams waiting 58 yards away. Haglin. End over end kick, looking for the low net, and out of the back of the end zone. Perfect. That'll be a touchback. And really an art to that, Steve, in that if you kick it off the pitchback net, you're ensuring a return. You get it below the crossbar, and it's a touchback to the 5-yard line. It's the best thing you can do for your defense.
Yeah, as a kicker, the worst thing you can do is hit the net. That's the worst thing, because it gives the returner a chance. Here, AJ's perfect in the middle of the net under the goalpost, which now they start from the 5. It's probably going to be hitting the ball or hitting the iron, which gives your team a chance to get the ball, or what we just saw right there, going through the net and out of the end zone to let the offense start at the 5.
And if you do it low off the bar, you can get a crazy bounce hard off the iron and give your team a chance to recover.
Exactly, and there's some kickers that are real good at that.
So Wimprine from his own 5-yard line on 1st down, firing out in the flat, looking for James Jordan, and he will be hog-tied and brought down by Omar Smith. But you identified James Jordan goes about 6'2", 230. Omar Smith goes 5'9", $186, and they're going on the size mismatch there.
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're bringing Clevan into the boundary, and they're making Omar Smith cover Jordan to the field, where it's a lot of room by itself. Same thing they did last year on Friday the 13th against the Sabercats.
2nd and short. Call it 2. Wimprine, that one long touchdown pass, firing low and sucked up and caught by Tyron Jones. Now, Tyron Jones, 5'9", 178 pounds, 36 years of age in his 10th year out of Grambling. Why are you sitting next to me with a headset? This guy's 36 years old. He's still doing it?
The knee injury, and it's all about the want to. He still wants to play. He's been on 5 or 6 different teams. When I left San Jose, Bob, that was it. I didn't want to play anymore.
Now, Tyron Jones will get the zoom motion. Here he comes full speed on 1st down. Wimprine throwing out in the flat. And James Lynch, at 276 pounds, gets a couple yards. There's a flag on the play.
It's a bad call. They're going to call Clevan for holding. That's a bad call. If that is indeed the call. I think that's what the line judge threw the flag, though.
Alan Harper talking to Perry Havener. Here's the call.
Offside. So number 8 on the defense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So the Sabercats were offsides. Clevan Thomas manhandled Tyron Jones and took him to the ground.
This matchup, Clevan's going to win every day. Exactly. Jones is actually trying to block Clevan right here to get him out of the press coverage, and Clevan just manhandles him to the turf. He'll take that matchup every day, all day.
So 1st and 5 after the offsides on the Sabercats. Jordan, the motion man. Wimprine pumping once, firing back to the other side and giving away a souvenir to the fan. One of the nice things in arena football, if you get a ball, you get to keep it. Samsung Lucky, fan of the game, said, look, I got the pigskin. And that Spalding, that arena football ball, very distinctive, very different.
I just saw something there that the VooDoo's going to have to change it. They're trying to use that Jordan on Omar Smith matchup, but watching that route right there, he's not going to be able to beat him in motion. His route running ability won't be able to beat Omar. They're just going to have to let him go from stationary.
Got 8 to 10 balls per game for the officiating crew. First one's been given away. Wimprine pumping once, a pump and go to Jordan. Touchdown. So James Jordan beating Omar Smith. Omar peeked in on the pump fake. He bought it. Jordan got behind him. 14th touchdown on the season.
Yeah, just like I said, he goes from stationary right here, makes Omar Smith thinks he's going to run a hitch because of his big body. Omar peeked at the quarterback. Jordan turns it up, and an easy touchdown. 2nd easy touchdown for the VooDoo tonight.
So the Sabercat defense so good against Kansas City. Wimprine 4 of 7 for 87 yards and a couple scores. Low snap, set down, and the kick is up and good.
New Orleans is on a roll. They've won 4 in a row. They're undefeated in this building, and they look like a quality squad as Jordan beats Omar Smith and hits the jumper. Well, New Orleans has been flawless, forcing a turnover, holding the Sabercats to a field goal, and they've had the ball twice offensively, scoring both times. 11:45 remaining in the half, and our Lynx's Western Division look. And fortunately for the Sabercats, Arizona, LA, and Utah, they're struggling, and San Jose looks to be in pretty decent shape, at least this far through the season, in terms of winning the division.
Yeah, in the last 4 or 5 years, it's real unusual to see the Western Division with the records like this. Western Division is usually one of the strong leagues in arena football, and it's a little bit down this year, and that's a fortunate plus for the Sabercats.
Sabercats always talk about just getting into the tournament, get into the postseason where they have won the title 3 times. Treston George set deep to receive. Romero to kick it off. End over end, midway off the net. Here comes Treston George at the 5. Trying to make a man miss. Now reversing his field. Can he pick up a block? George still on his feet. George out to the 10. And an awful lot of running to get out to the 12. But you see where Treston George, that extra effort, that extra energy, and he's always on the verge of breaking one.
That's called want to. If you watch him here, his feet never stop. He's always constantly moving. He's trying to make things happen. And this is where, as a blocker, you got to stay on your block, because this guy's giving 110% because he's trying to change the game for his team.
And Wendell Williams, who's the kick returner for New Orleans, got down and made the tackle for the VooDoo. So the Sabercats have to be flawless here offensively. And the way New Orleans has opened this game. Reeb on first down. A dangerous pass deflected to Santillo. Nearly picked off by Norman Lejeune. And right there is a great example of the new rule. This linebacker had to just stay in an imaginary 5-yard space or box. Now that linebacker can mirror and move side to side, and watch Lejeune become a factor and nearly pick that ball off.
Yeah, and before the play, he took away JG on the sideline and then ran to the field. All he did is played Mark Reeves' eyes, and with the new rule, that's what they're going to do.
Sabercats fortunate on the deflection, dropping it out to Frank Carter in space. He has the first down, and Carter rumbling to midfield. So Terry Malley, a little change-up call there. See the fullback sneak out of the backfield.
You're going to have to pull out some of your bag of trick plays early on and often in these games. Now you're going to have to make teams keep their jack linebacker at home. Make him be accountable for other stuff other than the quarterback's eyes. And right there, that's something now that the VooDoo defense is going to have to look at and make sure he stays at home.
Frank Carter, 260 pounds. I think that's just the biceps. You're talking about a guy who's put together. On first down, a screen pass out to Josh Ritchie. Ritchie in space at 20 and inside the 15. And you see that little burst right there, just an innocuous little hurricane screen, and Ritchie making the most of it.
Yeah, when he played for me last year, Bob, in Everett, this is what we did to him. We threw this play to him 10 times last year, and he scored 8 times. And that's what he does right there. He's a big guy, but a strong, physical, fast guy. He's going to get in behind those blocks, and he's always going to get you positive yards.
Yeah, Clenard Santillo, great block downfield from his other wide receiving partner. First and 10 Sabercats at the 13. Reeb looking, firing out to Santillo, comes back, a little wiggle, and we'll get inside the 10.
It gets real tough down here in the red zone. I mean, you look at San Jose, you look at what they're accustomed to doing over the years. This is a part of the field where they're going to go trick. They're going to bring James Rowe as a Z receiver in motion. They're going to occupy one side of the field. But now with this new rule, they're doing different things and different plays to get guys open.
See the eyes and the fire there of Mark Reeb, kind of directing traffic in that huddle. Second down, Sabercats can get a first down inside the 5. Reeb lofting, looking, jump ball, and incomplete. He was throwing for gathers, trying to use kind of, a basketball post play. Just I'll throw it to my tall guy, and the miscommunication there, and now it'll be third down.
Yeah, here you look at Calvin Spears. Normally he's cheating to see where that other guy's coming, but here he keeps his eyes on Jason Gathers and makes a formidable play for his defense. But all that was is you're trying to catch him cheating to see what Clenard's doing and trying to hit JG behind his eyes.
So third down, call it 6. Sabercats have to get inside the 5. Grebe firing. Santillo, did he get in? He did. Touchdown Sabercats. Bernard Santillo turning the corner, and San Jose into the end zone. And Grebe, his second touchdown pass of the night.
And it's simple. All Mark Grebe is doing is he's going to read Jason Gathers. He's going to read what the defense does. He sees Clenard come open with the backside corner trying to run, and Clenard makes a great chance to get into the end zone by stretching out before his knee hits the turf.
And breaking the plane with the ball, and A.J. Haglin on for the PAT. Good snap and set. And the kick is up and good, and Haglin's perfect season continues. 21-17, New Orleans on top. Sabercats offense have done the job. Time for the defense to turn it up. New Orleans up 21-17, and you want to talk about a way to begin the season. Wendell Williams, first play of the VooDoo season this year. And Steve, this is something you know a little bit about.
Oh yeah, this is how you want to start a season off here. When you can catch the ball cleanly, get blocks from 7 guys in front of you, and then right here run over somebody to get into the end zone to start your season. That's the way you want to do it. That's the way you want to come of age, if you will, in the opening kickoff. Unfortunately, they lost the football game.
They lost that game. They changed quarterbacks from Steve Balisari, put in Danny Wimprine, and have never looked back, because New Orleans has won 4 in a row, sitting now at 4-1. They're undefeated in this building. And so for the Sabercats, they have no stops defensively. New Orleans 1.5. They had the pick for 6 and the field goal attempt. So for San Jose, the defense, you got to turn the faucet off a little bit.
You got to step it up here and get you a stop, get you a turnover, or something like that to create something.
Haglin high, that's a loose ball. Picked up by Williams, trying to get out of his own end zone. He will not. So the elevation on that kick, just terrific. And Garrett McIntyre easily able to get downfield and make the stop. So the touchback, and only out to the 2.5-yard line instead of the 5 when a return man is tackled there.
You know, it's something about these kicks when they hit the ground. 9 times out of 10, you get a better return. But here, the Sabercats do a great job of breaking down and not even letting Williams get out of the end zone. Because if you talk to a lot of returners throughout the league, when the ball hits the ground, a lot of guys get out of their lane, so it makes your return easier. San Jose did a good job staying in lane.
You talk about McIntyre breaking down. Football-wise, what does that mean?
That means he came under control. He ran as fast as he could to get down there. He's a gunner to get to the ball. But once he sees the receiver pick the ball up, he got his feet back to balance. He became stable in his stance to where now if the receiver goes right, the returner goes right or left, he can move with him instead of running right past him.
Yeah, you see that on punt coverage a lot in the outdoor game. Instead of stopping, getting under control, tapping your feet, you run right by the return man and he goes run right by you. So timeout on the field with 7:24 remaining in the first half. New Orleans with the ball, leading by 4. First down, Danny Wimprine firing out into the flat to Tyron Jones. He'll have a first down getting out to the 15-yard line. Garrett McIntyre on the stop. And I don't know that Wimprine has looked all that spectacular, but he's had receivers wide open.
Yeah, he hasn't looked that good so far, but when he's completing the passes he needs to for the 2 touchdowns tonight.
And for the Sabercats, can they put any pressure on him? On 2nd and 1, almost a free play. Firing out the flat to James Jordan. And Lamar Smith coming to cover him. And then Levan Thomas and Tyron Jones saying hello after the play.
Bad blood here. It's evident already what New Orleans is trying to do. They're trying to do 2 things. They're picking on Omar Smith with Jordan because of the size advantage, and then they're going backside against Marquise. They're staying away from Cleveland, I mean, which is smart, but now San Jose has to do something to kind of trip New Orleans up. If you can get a pattern of what they're trying to do, now you want to do something to trip them up.
Now 3rd and 1 here. James Lynch at 276 pounds, and apparently that was before breakfast. He is a large fullback. Wimprine. 3rd and short, under pressure, firing incomplete. And so the Sabercats pass rush getting in there to really bother Wimprine, and Alan Harper coming around in.
Yeah, he held on to it along. That was a coverage sack. He's holding on to it, and here's where McIntyre gets a little bit out of position if he doesn't go with that first pump fake. If you can see here, he comes back to the left. If he stays right behind it in front of the defender, he knocks that ball down or picks it off.
So 4th down, and New Orleans going to go for it. and their own 13-yard line. So an opportunity for the Sabercat defense on 4th and less than 1. Wimprine's going to throw on 4th down. Firing to Jordan and just stepping in front of Omar Smith. And that is a matchup. It is killing the Sabercats right now.
And I don't want to tell the San Jose how to coach the game, but you should have known that was coming. And in that situation, take a little bit off of your pass rush. And what you want to do here in this situation is you want to spy your front side defensive end over there to give Omar some help. Get his hands up in the quarterback's passing lane.
And you say spy, one step forward by the D lineman, straight up like you're trying to block a kick or something.
Exactly. You knew the play was coming.
So 4th down conversion. On 1st down now near midfield. Wimprine under pressure and throwing into the stands, and he gives away another souvenir. So Danny Wimprine, who's a large man at quarterback, 6 feet tall, but 236 pounds. Louisiana native, played for the Memphis Tigers at school.
And you're starting to see the Sabercats front three really start to get after Wimprine, and that's what you're going to do. He's a rookie in this game. He's new. He's 4-0. You got to take his rhythm out. You got to get him out of his comfort zone.
Coming upon 4 minutes remaining in the first half. New Orleans has not been stopped here. And that pass low and incomplete, and a nice play by Garrett McIntyre as well as Marquise Floyd. That's the linebacker helping out the DB.
Yeah, if you look at it from a quarterback standpoint, he's picking on, in his mind, the weak links. Not that Omar or Marquise aren't good DBs, but he figures he's got a better matchup. Every ball we've seen has either been to Jordan or a backside receiver on Marquise, and I think at some point that philosophy is going to run out because the Sabercats are going to make adjustments and make changes.
Mike New, he has the microphone right to the quarterback's helmet, calling the play there on 3rd and 10. Wimprine looking, lofting, caught, 1st down, and down to the 8-yard line. And Javaris Dudley beating the Sabercats downfield, and San Jose making plays on 1st and 2nd down, but unable to make the difference when it matters.
Yeah, here Cleveland lets Dudley get inside him, and once you get inside him with no help from the backside, it's going to be an easy throw. In arena football, the quarterback's first read 9 times out of 10 is the guy in motion, and that's all he did. He read Dudley right there. He gets inside, easy throw to the other opposite side of the field.
Inside 3 minutes remaining in the first half. 1st and goal. Dudley will be the motion man with trips to the left. Wimprine looking left and firing out to Jordan. There's a flag on the play as Jordan is shoved into the wall at about the 4-yard line, but we will wait on the penalty.
Illegal defense. Twist by number 97. 5-yard penalty. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Now that is a twist on George Williams. And they don't want any stunting at the defensive tackle spot. So twisting on the pass rush is the penalty.
Yeah, the inside guys, your nose guard and your linebacker, they can do the twist, and the outside guy, and all George did was spy there, but he got outside of Ron Jones on the rush, so they had to call it.
1st and goal. Inside the 5, moving Dudley in motion. Wimprine firing, James Jordan, and he was in. They say he broke the plane before that ball came loose. So touchdown, New Orleans VooDoo. And they haven't had an answer for the Sabercats every time they've had the ball.
I want to see that one again. I don't know if he got the 2 feet down, the possession of the ball here to get across. No, I don't believe that. That's just me. I'm sitting up here, I'm far away, but I don't believe that he had control of it enough to stretch that ball out to make an actual football move with it to be a touchdown.
Ball came out. Ruled that it was breaking the plane. Romero's kick is up and good, and so the Sabercats have dug themselves a hole here. 1:28 remaining in the first half. San Jose will get the ball back with the VooDoo on top. New Orleans Orleans up 28-17, and they grow the VooDoo fans very young. Now, at this stage of the half, watch out for an onside kick by New Orleans. And it's really, you're playing the clock and number of possessions going into halftime. In the final minute of each half arena football, you have a clock that doesn't run, but they will kick it deep. Preston George looking for a return at the 10, at the 15, and George nearly broke out of a tackle and out to the 17-yard line. So tell me, ideally, how do the Sabercats want to play the final minute 15? Inside a minute, the clock will stop at incompletions and out-of-bounds plays.
If you're San Jose, you got the ball to start the game, so New Orleans going to get it after halftime. You're down by 11. What you want to do now is take your time. You want to get points, whether it's 3, preferably 6 points, but you want to get points, but you don't want to give New Orleans a chance to get anything before half, which will give the ball. So if I'm San Jose right here, I'm going to take my time and just pick up the easy first downs to keep the clock moving.
Sabercats don't need to run a play before the 1-minute warning, but they do. Grebe firing out to Santil, and he will get out of bounds. We have the 1-minute warning, which comes with 56 ticks left. So the 1-minute timing rules. Out of bounds plays, clock stops. Incompletion, and the clock stops. And both teams with 3 timeouts remaining. So San Jose across midfield trying to score right before the half. Jeff Jarnigan talking to the officiating crew, and it's also what New Orleans has been doing on the defensive end. Darren Arbet had a commentary. Additionally, Sabercats will have the ball. First down at the New Orleans 22-yard line. Season and group tickets still available at HP Pavilion. Contact the account executive at 408-573-5577 or log on to SanJoseSabercats.com. Check out the 3-time world champions and affordable tickets. HP Pavilion, always fun. And the Sabercats anxious to get back home where they have been nearly invincible. But they'd love to be back in New Orleans in a couple months, because this is where the next Arena Bowl will be.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. You know, you touched on it about just getting back to the tourney, but the difference with them this year is they're the defending champs. So every team they face week in and week out is going to gun for them with tremendous tenacity, because that's how they're going to test themselves. If we can beat the defending champs, then we're a better football team than we think.
Well, for Mark Grebe, that 1 pick for 6 really has been the difference in the ball game. And so for the Sabercats, 2 things here. How do you kill the final 56 seconds and make sure you get into the end zone right before the half? Santil in motion. Grebe over the middle, picked off. Norman Lejeune down the sideline, another pick for 6. So Mark Grebe has been intercepted twice. Both returned for a touchdown. And the team with the best plus-minus takeaway ratio in the league, we're seeing it up close and personal.
That's a pressure sack. I mean, an interception. That's Mark Grebe couldn't get to his 5-step drop and set and throw the ball like he wanted to. He's throwing off his back foot. He's trying to get rid of it because the New Orleans VooDooers, they're putting pressure on Mark Grebe before he can even get into his progression.
And so Lejeune out of LSU, very popular here. And more popular after the pick for 6. Romero missed the PAT.
Extra point, no good.
So the PAT is missed. Sabercats will get the ball back with still plenty of time in the half with 46 ticks, but turnovers are cripplers anyway. Turnovers that yield points are even worse. Turnovers that you have that occur on the opponent's side of the field are the triple whammy.
And if you want to go quadruple, turnovers to a team when you're the visiting team, because the energy of this place has just picked up a lot. Now, if you're San Jose, you're going to press things and you're going to make, do things that you're not accustomed to doing. And all New Orleans is going to do is now they're going to feed off of the turnovers. If you look at it, you can almost say it's San Jose 17, New Orleans defense 13.
And so, for New Orleans, I mean, credit Norman Lejeune, but like you said, it's the pressure up front where Grebe was just under, duress right away and trying to throw off his back foot. It makes it a lot easier for a DB or a linebacker to make a pick.
And you're a 10-year veteran in this league. You're used to being able to know that that guy coming across the middle is going to be there because that linebacker had to be in that imaginary box. It's tough for a quarterback who's been around for 10 years to all of a sudden in 5-game, 6-game season be aware of that jack every single time under pressure.
So now does New Orleans think onside kick? They will not. They will kick it deep. Preston George problem handling the ball, and then the final scoop it up. And that's one way to make sure you don't have a kick return.
If you're San Jose coming out of this huddle right now, coming from the sideline, you got to be patient. You got to take what they give you. You have to get points if you want to stay in this ball game because the energy level you're playing against a team that's #1 in the red zone, #1 against in turnovers, and they've already gotten 2. And as you touched on, 2 for touchdowns. Now if you're San Jose, don't press it. Do what you've done over the years and go out here and get some points.
So 46 seconds left with the timeouts. Reed. Josh Ritchie did not come back for the ball. Mark just had to get rid of it. Clock stops on the incompletion, bring up 2nd down.
At halftime, you're going to have to go in and you know, not to point the finger, not to point blame. It's a lot of football left, but you're going to have to talk to your offensive line. You're going to have to settle those guys down and let them know that, you know, in any football game, the offensive line, whether it's 11 men or 8 men, is the most important part of a football team. And right now, it seems like they're struggling.
New Orleans bringing that pass rush. On 2nd down, Reed does have time, and that one nearly picked off, but incomplete as it bounces before Santillo could grab it. So now 3rd down and 10.
And one thing that a fan at home probably doesn't pay that much attention to because you're watching the action, you want to see touchdowns. They're getting pressure with just rushing 3. They're keeping both of their linebackers in Mark Reeves' passing lanes to deflect passes, and it's not good when you're protecting with 4 and they're rushing 3 and they're still getting pressure.
Sabercats average 55 points a game, but held to 17 right now with the 2 picks. On 3rd and 10, Reed dropping back, looking for the home run ball for Gathers, and over everyone. So now 4th down. And with 32 seconds left, Sabercats thinking of kicking it.
This is a tough one. I think they're going to go for it. And this is a situation where if you don't get it now, you're already down 17. New Orleans going to get the ball on the 5-yard line and get the ball. You got to be careful here with what you play with the play call.
Well, this is a monster play. Down 17, 4th and 10, your own 5-yard line. Reed dropping back, firing. It's caught, but well short of the 1st down. They will not get the yardage up to the 15, and the VooDoo hold.
You know, Bob, that was all up front. Again, they only rushed 3 linemen, and you have 4 to protect. There's no way Mark Reeves should be getting hit when you outnumber the defense blocking-wise. They're going to have to get that corrected, or this is going to be a long football game. And now here, you're going to get a lot of Jordan. Whether it's stationary or motion, you're going to get Jordan on Omar Smith here.
So 24 seconds left. Sabercats have not stopped New Orleans the whole ball game. In prime, firing out to Wendell Williams. And the one thing about this is that New Orleans is at a minimum going to get a field goal attempt. At a maximum, it wouldn't be a door slammer, but it would be a monster lead at the half if they get in for the touchdown. You think about it, 1 half, hold them to a field goal, pick off the Sabercats twice, and a turnover on downs. That's 4 stops in 1 half.
And we always say if you get 3, you win, and all that's going to do is breed confidence for this team when they go into halftime.
2nd down, called 6. In prime, firing. Jordan shoved into the wall. He's got the 1st down. And now 16 seconds left.
You got to man up. You got to man up right now in this situation. You got to tell, they switched Marquise Floyd onto him now, but you got to tell him, you got to get in his face. You cannot let him get any kind of room to operate down there. They're going to go to him.
Prime 12 of 17 for 142 yards. Orleans has enough timeouts, but do they run it here? Trips to the right. Wim Prime looking, lofting, and Lynch never got upfield. That went into the stands. And Danny Wim Prime, very popular quarterbacks, giving away 3 footballs already.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one thing about arena football. You're going to come and with these guys that are catching these balls, especially when they're catching them from Danny Wim Prime, they're thinking I got a ball from him exactly. So you know you're ecstatic when you're a fan and you get a ball from a quarterback.
So now for the Sabercats, playing clock as well as the VooDoo. 13 seconds left in the half. 2nd and goal from the 4. In Prime, little jump ball. Jordan's got it. Touchdown, New Orleans. Sabercats have not been able to cover James Jordan.
See, this is a situation where you know it's coming, and this is where I get a little creative, and maybe I guess that's why I'm up here and I'm not coaching. But right here, Jordan is just too big for any Sabercat defender. He just pushes Marquise out of the way. Right here, knowing it's coming, I would have took Steve Watson and put him out there and let him cover him in a stationary position where he's strong enough to just keep him on the line of scrimmage. You know that play's coming because he's so big.
Good look at the 15-foot high crossbar, 9-foot wide opening. And Romero kicking it through. And disaster for the Sabercats. Turn it over on downs at their own 5. And then punched in by New Orleans. So 3 possessions where San Jose has been held, and then New Orleans has capitalized with 21 points off essentially those turnovers, and then the field goal stop. And the Sabercats have dug themselves a big hole. Fortunately, another half of football left, and in arena football, the tide can turn very quickly.
Oh yeah, if you're San Jose, you're not going to panic. What you want to do is you want Treston George to get a good return here because you have arguably the best the best field goal kicker in arena football. You give AJ a chance to hit a field goal before halftime. It calms down the run, as you say, if we were playing basketball, and it gets you within 3 scores. Right now, you're down 4 scores. So right now, you want Treston to catch this ball cleanly, get out, give his team a chance to get 3 points before halftime, go in and regroup, and like you touched on, it is arena football. Things happen for a reason, and they do what might be good for VooDoo in the first half can go terribly wrong in the second half.
Line drive kick, low and below the crossbar. Well executed by Alex Romero, and not giving Treston George an opportunity. That's pretty special to be able to do that with the ball. Hit a line drive and keep it that low, keep it away from the net, and deny any return opportunity.
Yeah, you just might have saved your team a 3-point swing or a possible 6-point swing if Treston George catches this cleanly and returns it, and that's something that's very hard to do in this league.
I tell you what, if it's 2 feet higher and it comes off the net, there's no VooDoo downfield. George catches it, he's running 20 yards before he's touched. So 9 seconds left. Can the Sabercats get 1 play and then a field goal attempt? Grebe firing behind Jason Gathers. 5 seconds left in the half.
I don't understand that one. I mean, you got LeJean in there who's been batting balls, picking balls off. I don't understand that. Why not just send Gathers up the wall, let him catch it and get out? That stuff over the middle is getting tricky when you got a guy as big as he is in there batting balls.
So maybe time for 1 play. 4 seconds and then a timeout, and then a field goal attempt. We'll see. Grebe firing to Gathers, but he's going to have to take it to the house. And Jason Gathers, the final play of the half. And for the Sabercats, they have run into a buzzsaw. New Orleans, terrific offensively, terrific defensively, and most importantly, winning the turnover battle. So San Jose has dug themselves a hole against the New Orleans squad playing quality football. And Darren Arbet, it seems that the pass protection and pass rush of New Orleans has given the Sabercats some problems.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of heat on our quarterback, and we're just not playing very well on offense right now.
What do you say in terms of the turnovers? You're halfway through this one. It's a lot of time in arena football, but you got a big hole to deal with.
Oh, we're going to go in there and talk about it, and we're going to come out with a little more fire in us, and we're going to get after these guys.
All right, best of luck in the second half, Darren. All right, that is Darren Arbet, who is not happy to say the least with the VooDoo on top of the Sabercats. 41-17. They've been very good in this first half. gets the ball already with a 41-17 lead. Are you thinking onside kick here?
No, not here, because you don't want to. If you don't get it, you don't want to give them an easy touchdown.
So they'll kick it deep, off the net. It's a live ball, and Wendell Williams will pick it up. So far, so good there. You get the touchback, you pin New Orleans in, but what can the Sabercats do differently defensively?
Well, Coach Arbette before the half said they're not playing well offensively that well. I disagree. They're not playing. I mean, I agree with that, but they're not playing well defensively either. So right now, you got to shake it up. It's imperative you got to stop James Jordan. That's where they're going. That's their offense. You take him out of it. You make Danny Wimprime do something that he's not accustomed to doing today, and that's one thing that you're going to do. You might see a more of a matchup defense now where they're going to put a bigger guy on James Jordan.
Jordan with 7 catches, 62 yards, and 3 touchdowns. First down, Wimprime over the middle of the field. And a pass incomplete. Dropping through the wickets of Javaris Dudley.
See, that's where that jack linebacker out of the box. McIntyre right there, he runs to the motion guy, but what you're doing is you're eyeballing the quarterback, and all that the receivers are doing nowadays is they're going to run a route based off the jack. When they turn around for a hitch route, which is a stop route, they're going to see where that jack linebacker is, and then they're just going to slide to wherever he's not, and the quarterbacks are trying to hit him in stride.
Sabercat defense has not come up with a stop yet in the ball game. On 2nd and 10, Wimprime firing, and Dudley, did he come down with it? He did. So he took the hit to the wall by Marquise Floyd, but out to the 19-yard line, and another souvenir.
Those balls aren't cheap. That kid right there, he'll be here after the game with the 20 minutes after signing ball. I'm sure he'll get that ball signed by a whole bunch of the VooDoo players.
Benefits of sitting in the front row there. So 1st and 10, New Orleans begin in the second half. Luke Dudley in motion, bottom of your screen. The pitch toss to Lynch. Flag on the play, the cutback, and then another flag. So James Lynch out of Maryland in his 2nd year. And I think the VooDoo also looking to see if he can run a little clock here.
Number 97 on the defense. Holding. 69 on the offense. Those penalties offset.
The offsetting holding on George Williams, as well as Brian Rimpf. So replay the down.
You don't hear defensive holding too much from a defensive lineman. In the secondary, it's a little bit more common, but to hear a defensive lineman holding, I think that's not that common.
George Williams not necessarily agreeing with that. So 1st down, we'll replay the down. Big Tyron Jones in motion. Wimprime dropping back, looking deep for Dudley. Floyd adjusts, and Marquise Floyd nearly the pick. Floyd ran the route better than Dudley and nearly had the first turnover for the Sabercats.
That would have been big. And if you can see here, they're starting to get pressure on the VooDoo quarterback. He's throwing off his back foot a little bit more in the second half to start it. But the thing about here is Marquise got to pull this ball in. He's got to, didn't put it in the bread basket. He's got to pull that in, because right now, you touched on it, come out of halftime, the Sabercat defense, they need a stop to trigger the offense. They got to get some momentum going here.
Yeah, somebody on defense got to make a play. On 2nd and 10, Jones the motion man. Wimprime with a flag on the play and firing downfield to Jones at the 12-yard line. And we will wait on the penalty.
Offside. Defense, number 99. Penalty is declined.
Sabercats for offsides anyway. So just little plays there. Floyd had an interception, couldn't handle it. And then every time San Jose has not made a play, New Orleans has responded.
Yeah, and one thing that you can kind of see right now a little bit out of the Sabercat defense, Alvin Harper here, looked like he was yelling at Cleveland, because what's happening is, as we're putting pressure on the quarterback, but he's completing passes, you're going to start getting frustrated with a 41-17 score, and you're going to start pointing the finger and pointing the blame away from yourself.
That is their first timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
New Orleans going to use a timeout here with 11:52 remaining in the 3rd. The VooDoo have the first down in Sabercat territory. San Jose defense looking for a stop. Guaranteed. On first down, William Prime running for his life as Ron Jones had the pressure and forcing the incompletion. And we have not called Ron Jones's name thus far, and he's been a monster playmaker last season for the Sabercat defense.
It seems like we haven't called too many of the Sabercat defensive guys today, and this is where you're going to separate the men from the boys. You're down, you need to stop, you're in the red zone. This is where you got to let everything hang and bring it 100 miles an hour, and we'll see if the Sabercats can step up to the challenge.
Opening possession for New Orleans beginning the second half. Looping Wendell Williams in motion, and we got flags. George Williams came across.
Encroachment. Number 97 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Big sexy George Williams with kind of a tough play there. You never want to have the nose guard jumping off sides. He can see the football right in front.
And see, that's where he's looking at that center's hand, and he's trying to time that motion, that quick twitch to get up there and try and cause a fumble here if he can time it right. But we always say if you're going to make a mistake, do it going 100 miles an hour, and Big Sexy sure did.
5-yard penalty, 2nd and 5. Sabercats appear to be offsides again, and this is going to be a double killer because the pass was picked off. For San Jose, dropped an interception. You could have another interception taken away via the penalty.
Offside. Defense, number 99. Having just to the goal. Second down.
Again, I mean, there's something about timing the snap, but also watching the ball.
Got to be smart. Got to be smart in these situations. You've given them 9 yards. You've taken away an interception. You've taken away the. I mean, you would have had the momentum, and now you put them in a 2nd and short situation, and they haven't run a play in about a minute.
Clock continues to spin, but a couple turnover opportunities missed by the Sabercats. Isolate Jordan to the far wall, top of your screen. Pitch toss to Lynch, trying to turn the corner. He has run right into the pylon and the wall. One thing this has done for New Orleans, though, is they've clicked off nearly 5 minutes of this quarter. Mike New knows it's a possession game. It's a matter of protecting this big lead and using clock in addition to trying to score.
Yeah, if you're San Jose, you can't afford a penalty here and give him another first down. You got to make him make a decision on 4th down here.
1st and goal after that run. Give it right up the middle, into the end zone, touchdown. And Wendell Williams gets into the end zone, and the Sabercats are down 30.
You watch the body language here, Fitz, of the Sabercat defense. It's like you think they're winning the ball game. You don't see guys flying to the ball. You don't see guys trying to stop it from getting in. It's kind of like they've surrendered already.
Long way to go in this one, but New Orleans has been flawless. They have never been stopped. Turned the Sabercats over once on downs, twice on interceptions, and held them to a field goal. Alex Romero on for the PAT, and that is up and good. So for the Sabercats, a monster deficit, 8:59 remaining in the 3rd. Their offense gets the ball for the first time. Okay, something in that picture is not working together. The guy in the Saints hat is the luckiest guy going on a Saturday night in New Orleans.
But if you saw, she moved away from us, so he must have said something that wasn't too pleasant to her ears.
Take the hat off. Saturday in Philly, but moved to 8:45 now. Sharks playoff hockey at HP Pavilion. Sabercats will be at 8:45. First 5,000 fans get a championship pennant from Sharp and be there to check out John Bon Jovi's Philadelphia Soul. Interesting, Bon Jovi and Ron Jaworski involved in that ownership. Tom Benson and the Saints involved in this ownership here with the VooDoo. The ball coming off the tee, and for San Jose, I mean, there's no 30-point plays in this league, so it's got to be one possession at a time, and all the offense can do is not turn it over, worry about getting the end zone, and try to build any kind of momentum. It's all been VooDoo with 21 unanswered.
Yeah, they gotta score early and often.
Treston George, that ball never hit the net. George 100 miles an hour and out across the 15-yard line. So Treston George, a decent return. And Mark Grieve has been picked off twice in the first half. Coming out onto the field here. We talked about very young receivers with Clenard Santil and Josh Ritchie and Jason Gathers.
This is where we need to see the 1, 2, or 3 play drive touchdown.
Sabercats haven't had the pass protection to throw anything deep. Reed firing to Gathers. Blockers in front of him and getting down the sideline. So he'll have a first down into VooDoo territory at the 23-yard line.
Good play, good play there. To, give yourself some momentum, give yourself some room. Let the guy run after catch. Anything can happen. Good downfield blocking by Santil and the offensive line.
At what point does Sabercats think about a hurry-up offense, too? I mean, time is so critical in terms of possessions here.
I don't think you do that until around the fourth quarter. Right now, you're just going to speed it up. You're still going to huddle, but you're going to call the plays a lot quicker.
Mark Grieve on first down, under pressure, and incomplete, and it picked off. It was deflected and then picked off. Umar Muhammad. And so the pressure on Grieve, the deflection, the interception, and it goes from bad to worse.
That's just, I mean, again, they're only rushing 3 guys, and they're getting pressure right there. I think Frank Carter put his head down on his pass protection and let the VooDoo defender, Lavea Sapi, excuse me, jump over him and get pressure on Grieve.
So New Orleans has lived up to the billing, leading the league in interceptions. They've added 3 more. Takeaway margin, they're +3 tonight. Wim Prime, the screen. Out to the sideline, and good tough running by Javaris Dudley.
At some point, and they tried it there with Big Ron Jones trying to get his hands up. But if you watch the makeup of this game, when the VooDoo get what's inside the 20 to the 25, they either run or they throw a screen, and that's something you got to take a chance. You got to send somebody to maybe try and intercept that ball and give yourself a pick six, or you got to get a shade up or a spy by the defensive end to knock that ball down and let them play second and long.
First down for the Sabercat 14. Looping Tyron Jones in motion. Wim Prime firing out to Jordan. James Jordan has been the possession receiver. He's also been the end zone receiver with 3 touchdown catches. Name sounds familiar. James Jordan spent a little time with the 49ers. 30 years of age. Out of Louisiana Tech.
The body language of the Sabercats defense is, I don't know if it's a sign of tired, fatigue, the flight, the 2 days, the time, or the offense really not being able to keep you off the field, but their body language isn't something that I'm used to seeing.
Jones in motion. Wim Prime firing into the end zone. Tyron Jones, touchdown.
The difference in that play, the time Wim Prime had to throw the ball. He had no pressure. He sits there, he reads. Tyrone Jones comes all the way around from the loop position. He pumps once, pumps fake twice, throws off his back foot. Great catch in the end zone with Cleveland Thomas trailing, and that's the problem with San Jose today is they're not putting enough pressure on the quarterback. They're letting him stand back there and throw.
This is very un-Sabercat-like. Normally a quality road team, one of the best teams in this league, and New Orleans is absolutely putting it to them right now. 3 interceptions have all turned into 3 touchdowns, and New Orleans on top large. The Sabercats' largest loss in their franchise history is by 38 points, and trailing by that right now with 5.5 remaining in the third. And around the league, It's guys like Danny Wimprime, Sanders in Dallas. The backup quarterbacks are stepping up. Philadelphia, Sabercats' next opponent, and Dallas still unbeaten. Utah with Danny White winless. And Grand Rapids, they're scoreless at the half. They've scored 176 points the last 2 games.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the way this league changes with backup quarterbacks coming in. Utah being winless. They fired Hunky Cooper, their defensive coordinator, and like you said at the end, with Grand Rapids scoring so many points in the last 2 games, and at halftime they have 0. So you never know in arena football each week.
Alex Romero, right to left. Tristan George out of his own end zone. And George with a flag down, and a Sabercat player down at the 3-yard line. San Jose had so many injuries, and now Steve Watson very slow to get up.
Illegal block in the back.
I'm curious to see at what point does Terry Malley get Grebe out of the game.
We got in the back.
And that's something normally, you know, with Scott Rizlov, the backup quarterback. Mark Grebe has taken every snap for full seasons for the Sabercats in his career, but at some point you might as well get your backup some extra work. And you also don't want Grebe taking shots that he doesn't need to.
Exactly. And the backups have been doing a good job. Why not San Jose's backup?
Josh Ritchie, his first game. With Clenard Santil, Jason Gathers. And the screen to Gathers. Nice cutback. I'll tell you what. New Orleans, with Justin Brown making the tackle there. They're big up front. They're very mobile. And their DBs and linebackers pick off passes. That's a very good combination.
Yeah, if you watch on that last play, they throw a little slip screen to Jason Gathers in close, and that VooDoo defense was flying to the ball. All 8 guys are trying to get there with a purpose, and that's why they're 4-0 in the last 4 games.
28 unanswered by New Orleans. Gathers has a first down. The Sabercats last year started 3-3, lost to the VooDoo, won every game the rest of the year, won the title. Should they lose this game, they will have started 3-3, lost to the VooDoo, and then let's see what happens after that.
Yeah, but now they're the defending champs. They got Philadelphia, one of the best teams, coming to the HP Arena next week. So now it's a little different circumstances than last year.
On first down, Grebe firing to Gathers again. And one thing New Orleans has succeeded in doing is keeping everything underneath for San Jose. There's been nothing deep and nothing up top tonight.
You know, and you're going to sit back and you're going to look at this game and you're going to say, well, we didn't have Rodney, we didn't have James Rowe, but, you know, you still got Jason Gathers, you got Josh, you still have formidable receivers. The problem with today's ball game is up front they haven't been able to let the Grebe throw the ball to these outstanding receivers.
2nd and 2. Firing out to Gathers again, getting a good block downfield. And a fumble with the ball coming out. Sabercats got on top of it. Still be San Jose ball, but that's the last thing they need with having 3 interceptions is to put the ball on the ground.
The one thing I can see from up here and take from this game that New Orleans, when they watch the film, they're going to be extremely pleased at is you're getting pressure with 3 linemen against 4. And I think that is, we haven't given enough credit to Brian Johnson at fullback in his blocking. Frank Carter's normally not a fullback, so I think he's struggling a little bit blocking.
First and goal at the 5. Gathers in motion. Grebe trying to step up in the pocket. Nearly picked off again.
Wow. And that's all pressure. That's pressure coming from the outside, pressure coming from Muhammad up inside. I mean, Frank Carter, I just talked about, he takes Muhammad on here, gets a good block, but I think Vince Amy's guy comes off a little bit and gets the Grebe from the backside. Dan Loney was having problems with the nose guard, and I think it's just something where the VooDoo are feeding on the Sabercats' inability to block them.
Sabercats scoreless here in the second half. 2nd and goal from the 5. They give up the middle to Frank Carter. He is brought down at about the 3-yard line.
And That's a play right there. Not to take nothing away from Frank Carter, but that's a play where a Brian Johnson or last year Matt Kissinger, they would have scored on that play. You don't get many opportunities, and it was open because I think VooDoo were playing the short screen to the wide side of the field again, and Frank Carter just didn't get his feet up enough to get into the end zone.
So this is the pachyderm look where the Sabercats put all large defensive linemen. And the one receiver and gathers. 3rd and goal from the 5. Clearly 2-down territory. Reed looking, lofting for George Williams, incomplete. Reed thought Williams was held coming out of the backfield by Lynn J. Shell.
And that's one where, because of the pressure, he had Big George open in the back of the end zone, but because of the pressure, Mark Reed feels he has to get rid of it a little bit sooner than he had to, because he's not getting forced with pressure here. He's got time, but he just, because of the happy feet and the pressure in the earlier part of the game, he gets rid of it a little bit early.
4th and goal from just outside the 3. Gathers in motion. Reed dropping back into the end zone. Touchdown, Clenard Santillo.
And that one was close there, Bob. If he should have been able to hit Santillo over on the AFL Football League end zone pad, but because of the pressure, he throws the ball here, and the Jack linebacker almost had a chance to make a play on this here. See, that play should have went over into the corner. We've seen James Rowe catch that ball many a times. Santillo goes up and makes a great catch, but this ball should have been put way over into the wall, an easy catch, but because of the pressure, he had to get rid of it early.
I've been on for the PAT. He has been perfect all season. But for the Sabercats, who were in this game at 21-17, to think of the run that New Orleans has been on, fueled by San Jose turnovers, and with 14 seconds left in the 3rd, it will be a miracle comeback time for San Jose heading into the 4th.
But if you look at it, excuse me, let's say they come out now and they get their own interception for a touchdown to get them closer. Hagelin kicks off, it bounces off the bar, they get it, they get another score. So it's ways of getting back into the ball game, but to be realistic, you're going to have to create those ways. You're going to have to create stuff to give her a chance to take the lead, because Coach knew he's not going to do anything stupid. He will sit on this ball as long as he can, and he'll try and get out of here with a 55-24 victory, because it's a victory and it's a good victory on their side. So if you're San Jose, you got to create stuff now. You got to strip the ball. You got to take chances in the secondary and try and pick something off. If you're going to come out here and onside kick it, if they onside kick it, you got to use everything you got to try and get to this ball, because New Orleans not going to sit back and give you the ball game.
So let's see if the Sabercats start thinking onside kick. They have not stopped New Orleans regardless. So do they give them the short field? Hagelin, it's a high bouncer, and then batted smartly out of bounds. Now, the dangerous thing with that onside kick is when you do it near the sideline, you have a limited chance of returning it or recovering it.
But it's not going to work when Treston George and Marquise Floyd are your guys that are going to go up and get the ball, and they run into each other. That's just not playing smart football. That's not having a want-to and a drive to go get the ball. You can't, in those situations, because you're not going to get many of them, you can't go run into each other when you're supposed to both trying to get the ball.
New Orleans does not need to run a play here as the quarter will expire. And so the New Orleans VooDoo, along with Philly and Dallas, the hottest team in the league. They've won 4 in a row, and they have been putting it to the Sabercats tonight. Sabercats having a tough one against the VooDoo. Bob Fitzgerald, Steve Pappen with you as we get ready to begin the 4th quarter. And the 3 interceptions, the stoppage on downs, all turned into points by New Orleans. As we begin the 4th, the Sabercats do not have a defensive stop in the game.
And you won't win a ball game without that.
Tyron Jones will fly in motion. Danny Wim Prime goes down hard. And Steve Watson. Quality Sabercat defensive play there.
This is a guy, Bob, that's going to play 100 miles an hour right here. He beats the nose guard. He gets in there. He gets a sack on Wim Prime, and he shows enthusiasm. He's still losing in the ball game, and this isn't a taunting or anything stupid. It's just, let's get some energy to the defense. Let's get excited about playing football.
Sabercats need to string together a bunch of plays here. In prime, firing to Tyron Jones, and you talked about, and this is a good example here. You got to take some chances at some point. You can't play a 12-yard cushion, let someone just hitch up in front of you and get a first down. You're down so big, peek in, go for the pick.
This is where Coach Church, when he was the Sabercat defensive coordinator, Coach Guy, these were guys that were high energy guys that really got after it. Coach Jarnigan, was in his first year being the defensive coordinator, but he's more of an upfront guy. The secondary, he's still learning, and this is where he's got to, take more time and say, okay, take some chances. Let's play man-to-man. Let's get up in their face. Let's make them beat us, not just let them pick us apart.
New Orleans will use their second timeout here. I mean, just a simple out route, and the cushion allowed for the first down. So for the Sabercats, they have to stop New Orleans at some point to even get back in the game. Well, the little VooDoo fans having a lot of fun tonight, as New Orleans very good at home. Our next telecast will be in Utah from Energy Solutions. It'll be April 18th. Chris Towns with the pregame show at 5:30. Kick it off at 6 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area in high definition. On third down, Wim Prime under pressure. Tyron Jones alone. And he will be pushed out of bounds. And third and fourth downs, the Sabercats have had no answer for New Orleans.
The sack by Steve Watson earlier in the drive means nothing. You get him in long situations, and then you give up a big play on second down, a first down on third down, and this is where, during that timeout, you should have grabbed Omar, Cleveland, and Marquise, grabbed them by the face mask and said, we're going to play man-to-man. You got a man following. You can't give up third down plays for first downs. You won't win a ball game.
First and goal from the 3. James Lynch, the fullback. They give it to Lynch. And the Sabercat defense, front 3 standing tall. McIntyre in on the tackle, along with Steve Watson and Ron Jones. The Sabercats defensively, Garrett McIntyre a new face, but by and large it's everybody on the Arena Bowl winning team on defense.
It's just different personalities from your coordinators and defensive back coaches and things like that. And Kevin Guy was a fiery guy who got after it and didn't take any BS. And I think with Jarnigan, it's more, he's still learning a little bit. So they're taking on that personality.
Second and goal. Wim Prime going to keep it himself. And Danny Wim Prime into the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans. And Wim Prime has just been excellent. Has yet to lose a game. Played only a couple snaps last year as the holder on field goals. Replaced Steve Balasari week 1. And they have found something here in New Orleans.
That's just unacceptable. I mean, you got to have 1-2 and determination to get. That's a quarterback. You live to take those shots, and for nobody to get a hand on them or throw them into the wall, that you're not going to win too many ball games letting that happen.
Romero on for the PAT, and his kick is up and good. This would be history making the wrong way for the Sabercats. They've lost by 38 just once in franchise history. Well, New Orleans and Bourbon Street and the VooDoo beating up on the Sabercats 62-24 with 11:43 remaining in the game, and links his connection to the game. Third down, first possession for New Orleans, busted coverage and just kind of shades of things to come. Sabercats had led 7-0 at that point. Looked like they were going to get a stop defensively, and New Orleans gets the touchdown, and Mike New has never looked back.
You got to win on third down.
And there is our winner. The gentleman right away with us.
Preston George ready to receive. That one kicked out of bounds sideways. And if they rule it went outside the frame of the bars, that one's coming all the way out to the 20-yard line. It's the biggest penalty that they have in arena football. The idea being that you want to have kick returns. Fan gets the football. I've seen several of those tonight. They're having fun in New Orleans, as they should, with their team playing incredibly well. Reed remains in the ball game. I think it's also time, if you can, try to get Josh Ritchie involved a little more. He's got it right now on the screen. Playing his first arena game, but given the health of Rodney Wright and James Rowe, you're going to see more Josh Ritchie and let him do a few more different things and continue to grow up.
We saw the screen to him early the first play, and then that's all we've seen out of him.
15 on the offense. 10 yards from the spot of foul. First down.
Holding on the Sabercats. We'll bring this play back.
That's a play where I don't know who they called it on, but that's one where New Orleans has been getting after him, and instead of giving up a lookout block, I guess you grab a little cloth and get caught.
So 1st and 15. There's a lot of time left in the game, but the Sabercats have just shown no inclination to stop New Orleans, and you can't keep trying to trade scores here. Jason Gathers with the cutback and the speed. And that pass being kind of floated to him paid off because the New Orleans defense over pursued on the play.
You know, it's real rare to see a Sabercat ran offensive team and the best play that they've been able to come up with in a night of a football game were screens. The little Z loop motion screens or the X quick screens out to Ritchie. It's real rare that you don't see Grieve throwing the ball downfield.
That's a credit to the best secondary in the league, already with 3 interceptions. Reed dropping back, clean feet, touchdown. Mark Grieve had time to throw. Gathers run the route perfectly, and a very quick 2-play drive that looked very much like the Sabercats we've become accustomed to.
Yeah, because you touched on it. You said Grieve has time to throw. He has no pressure in his face right here. Gathers is going to come around. He's going to run a read route where he can go sail or post, and all he does is read, hook up, and the ball comes on time because Grieve had time to set his feet and throw the ball.
A.J. Haglin on for the PAT, and he has been perfect, yet to miss a kick. And for San Jose trying to build any kind of momentum, perfectly executed, and Grieve, perfect delivery to Gathers.
That was another time where New Orleans tried and only rushed 3, and unfortunately for the Sabercats, they blocked it well, and Grieve was able to find JG in the end zone.
So now do you start just onside kick every time, or what do you do?
See, that's a tough one there. We'll see when we come back, what they decide.
9:49 remaining in the ball game. It has been all VooDoo for most of the night. By Toshiba. And by Fry's Electronics. Your best buys are always at Fry's, guaranteed. Sabercats went for the onside kick.
Free kick.
Barry Havner saying Sabercats might have kicked off before the officials were ready to do so. And we're going to have a re-kick.
That's one thing at arena football you don't see too many times is a re-kick off of a kickoff. Coach Arbett's not happy about something.
Same as the outdoor game. Ball's got to go the 10 yards before you touch it.
The one thing you see here more than anything, more than recoveries or guys getting blown up on these onside, is you see offsides a lot. You see where the kicking team gets too anxious and they're offsides because of the short end zones or them trying to get to the punch a little bit faster. And that's one thing you got to be careful with San Jose. You don't want to recover it, but give it up because you're offside.
So Haglin tried the drag kick the first time. Taking a little line drive here. Josh Ritchie and Steve Watson on the tackle. And now we got a fight, a real big one. A.J. Haglin, the kicker, and a lot of frustration on the Sabercats. And you had some definite pushing and shoving on that.
And that's probably where VooDoo has told one of their biggest guys, go hit the kicker. That's something that some of these coaches do. And I think Coach Markham from Tampa Bay was real good at that. Sending somebody straight at the kicker. Yeah, he's a football player with equipment on, but I mean, that's just cheap.
Well, especially up 31 points. Wait as they sort out the penalties here.
There were 3 fouls on the play. After the play, personal foul, number 31 on the offense. Personal foul, number 11 on the defense. Personal foul, number 7 on the offense. Those will offset.
So,
number 7
all
has been
offsets, all
ejected from the
personal
game.
fouls both ways.
Who did they kick out? He ejected somebody. Let's see if we can see AJ. AJ, you can just get the bottom of him. And that's one thing about him. He's a little feisty guy. He's not going to just let you, throw him around. I think they kicked out Lejeune.
Yeah, they did. He was involved with Hagelin. And so now Steve Belisari out of Ohio State, who was the starter week 1, the only week that New Orleans lost. And Belisari not throwing a very crisp pass there. It actually lost yardage to James Jordan. So Mike New has gone to his backup quarterback, feeling that the issue has been decided.
And in that same breath, James Jordan, feeling the same way, just took himself out of the ball game.
So New Orleans, having won 4 in a row, going to move to 5-1. Only Philadelphia and Dallas with better records. Belisari taking a long time to throw that. A flag on the play. Comes very late on the incompletion. It's also where it's a holding penalty on New Orleans, but this is, I hate to say it, this is where the officials need to relax here. No need to over officiate in this juncture.
Holding 53 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, second down.
They'll move them back 10 more yards.
I don't understand it. Why wouldn't you need the ball? Why wouldn't you decline that and make it 3rd down? You got a new quarterback in the ball game who is not very comfortable throwing the ball in his first 2 attempts. Why not make that 3rd down to give your offense a chance to get back on the field? There we go.
That's what the Sabercats were saying is we decline that.
There we go. Now you got to play defense.
Now the officials are trying to figure out what down it is. It's 3rd down. We'll help you out here. 3rd and 12.
And you got to play.
Ledley, the motion man. Belisari looking into the end zone. And trapped up against the wall. It'll be incomplete. Marquise Floyd. He took the punishment. He had the ball. He got crumpled up against the wall there. Marquise is more than a little shaken up. It's all right. That will bring up 4th down. Field goal time for Alex Romero. Now remember, in arena football, no punting, so the attempted field goal is either good for 3 points, or if it's off the net, it can be returned like a kickoff.
I thought you could have got away with an offensive pass interference there on Dudley. Ooh, hit his head on the wall a little bit, his shoulder. It looked like pass interference. It looked like Dudley pushed off. One thing you want to be worried about here, Bob, is if the ball hits the net and goes beyond the 1st down and New Orleans recovers, it's a 1st down for them. So if the ball hits the net and it's a live ball, so San Jose wants to make sure they get on it.
37-yard field goal attempt. Snap and set. High enough, long enough, and good. And so Alex Romero knocking it through, and New Orleans has just excelled in every phase of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. And the Sabercats, they get their first stop of the game, but it's a half stop holding New Orleans to attempt a field goal. And for San Jose, it's about building a little momentum into next week and knowing that last year when they started 3-3, they got on a hot streak and ended up winning the championship.
Yeah, it's never over. I mean, it's a perfect example. If you look at the New England Patriots, they started 16-0 and didn't win the Super Bowl. So 3-3, all that means is you got to fight a little bit harder. But the one good thing for the Sabercats is they're still going to be leading their division. They're still going to be in first place. They're going to get Philadelphia in town, where now you get to really see what you're made of. You're going to be coming off of a tough loss against one of the best teams in the league. Now you get to really, pump your chest, or you can fold up the tent and go home.
We don't normally have our play of the game with this much time remaining because arena football games usually come down to the waning moments. But this one, Sabercats thinking they're going in, and picked off by Norman Lejeune. And the 2 picks for 6, not only interceptions, not only for touchdowns, but both times with the Sabercats with a chance to go in and score.
Yeah, and if you look at it even deeper than that, that's a 28-point swing because we didn't stop them at all. So each interception came off of a VooDoo touchdown for 7. With the pick 6, that's 28 points to nothing that the Sabercats didn't score against.
Alex Romero to kick it. This one not get to the net. Preston George looking to set up his blocks. And George out across the 15 to the 16-yard line. But yeah, you have 2 14-point swings, 28 points that you're talking about, and then also turning it over on downs at your own 10-yard line right before the half and allowing another one. So you've essentially had 3 14-point swings. You didn't score a touchdown. New Orleans able to do that, and that's how they built the big lead and protected it.
And it's tough to do when you don't have your big guns, James Rowe and Rodney Wright.
Reed remains in the ball game, firing to Jason Gathers.
And again, you see there, the VooDoo did the same. They've only rushed 3, and they protected Griever a little bit better in that situation. But you're going to have a good chance to win football games when you can only rush 3 guys and put pressure on a quarterback.
That's, you think about wide receivers, defensive backs, but at every level of football, who's controlling the line of scrimmage? The biggest factor. Josh Ritchie will have a first down. I've seen Ritchie execute that screen very well.
Yeah, big target, fast, strong. He's gonna get you positive yards. It's unfortunate we weren't able to see him do a little bit more downfield to see what he could do, in open space.
For the Sabercats, fly the most miles of any team in the league this year. Reed firing to Gathers, flag on the play. Jason Gathers, good strong run. He'll have the first down. But San Jose has already had to travel to Chicago, to Grand Rapids. And it happens every year, and then coming here to New Orleans. So the Sabercats, it's tough to go to Orlando, but other than that, it's Utah, Arizona, and LA. So much shorter trips. And a bunch of home games upcoming.
On the defense, penalties decline, first down.
Illegal defense penalty decline, so the Sabercats will have it first and goal to 6.
And that's one of the ones where with that new rule, he can go sideline to sideline, the jack linebacker, but he's got to be within 5 yards. But the guy that judges that is looking at the line, so it's a lot of times where I think on that one interception, he was beyond the 5 yards.
Gathers in motion, Reeve into the end zone and throwing it high. It's going to take a while. Without any continuity from Mark Grieve, he has not had the same starting 3 receivers for any consecutive week this season. You've had Rodney Wright in and out, Clenard Santil in and out, James Rowe in and out, Josh Ritchie in and out. And second and goal, Gathers the motion man. Looking for Frank Carter. And Carter keeping the feet moving. Good tough run in for the touchdown.
So this is where someone needs to calm down Vince Amy. You can't see it on camera, but he's really going after one of the VooDoo linemen, and he's going to cost his team. Good play here by Mark Reeve and Frank Carter. This is Terry Malley just looking at his bag of tricks, figuring out what they're trying to do, and get a touchdown for the Sabercats.
A.J. Haglund, and he just missed his first kick of the year. And that kind of night. Haglund, perfect on field goals, perfect on PATs. And just hit the crossbar, missed his first one. But it's not going to cost San Jose necessarily tonight. Sabercats, Philadelphia, undefeated, coming to HP Pavilion, then at Utah. LA division games, then the long road trip at Orlando. All games on Comcast Sportnet Bay Area. But the Sabercats, travel gets better, home games get better, and they as a team have to get better.
Yeah, they definitely got to get better as a team. 3-3, the defending champs, and it's one of those things where when you get home and you're going to get the Los Angeles, the Utah, those are teams you shouldn't win, because at the end of the season when you get Tampa Bay and Georgia coming, you want to be playing good football at that point in the year.
Haglund, 59 straight PATs, and that streak comes to an end.
It just doesn't seem that whether it's Friday the 13th in New Orleans or early in April in New Orleans, it's always problems for the Sabercats coming down here.
Yeah, third straight loss to the VooDoo in this building. They beat New Orleans in San Jose, and then obviously won the Arena Bowl here, but I was not playing New Orleans. This little kind of a pooch kick. Still a live ball. It's gone 10 yards. And recovered to be a touchback. I am surprised, and Haglund tried it the last time, that if a kicker could kick it on a line at somebody and have it bounce off them, not dragging it, not popping it up in the air, but a line drive right off of a return guy 10 yards away.
You used to see more of that in the old arena football when guys went two ways, because you'd have some of the big guys up in the front line. Now with receivers and DBs in the front line, it's kind of hard because of their reaction times a little bit faster.
Sorry, the backup from his own 5-yard line, and lofting it downfield, and another broken coverage. Omar Smith falling down, and Wendell Williams with an easy one. Sabercat DBs have had very tough sledding. It's been a long time since San Jose has been beating it like this.
And see, here it is. All he does is run a stop and go route, because, like we talked about, San Jose needs to take chances and go for picks and go for interceptions. And Coach New's been around this game a long time. He knows that. And, you're going to look at that and say, well, that's running it up. And I'm a firm believer in, I got to get my guys ready to play next week. I don't want you to look at it as running it up, but I'm going to call my plays, and if I'm better than you that night, then so be it. Because if you get a chance to do it to me, return the favor.
Romero's kick is up and good. I think that will be the most disappointing thing for the Sabercats, is they go on the road last week, allow only 36 points. The defense essentially helps win that game, and then that 36 has become 72 tonight, doubled up. Now you've had the pick for 6 a couple times, but neither the offense nor the defense has played well enough for San Jose to win tonight.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, both sides of the ball has been not up to par tonight, and special teams has been okay. I mean, Haglund missing the one, but it's a thing where you look at these teams, you look at the VooDoo, and they have Lejeune in there, who's a active linebacker to move around and make plays. In San Jose, they're going more old school, more new school, with two big guys in there, where McIntyre is not as agile to get out and make plays in the secondary like Lejeune, and that's something I'm sure the Sabercats will look at. And also, you look at your different coverages. To me, and this is only my second time seeing them live that I've been here, they don't look like the same secondary that I saw last year winning Arena Bowl.
Good thing is, for San Jose, they benefit from a division that is weaker than most right now. It's unusual, but you worry about getting a playoff spot, and that's still a long way away. It's in their week 6 of a 16-week season, and a year ago, ago, Sabercats were flying out from New Orleans at 3-3. Went on to win the title. It's going to be the exact same scenario this year. Flying out from New Orleans at 3-3. Preston George will get out to the 12-yard line.
The thing that I think is going to make it a little bit more, is going to make it difficult for the Sabercats this year with the slow start is you're looking at the Western Division. They're okay there. But when you look at Chicago's a lot better team, you might have to go on the road to play them in the playoffs. Colorado's getting better as a team. You know, you're having teams step up now that are going to be a little bit better than last year's group, so you don't want to go on the road, so you got to win some of these road games.
On first down, Santillo in motion. Firing out to Ritchie. He'll just be touched against the wall. The pass rush of New Orleans has told the tale. They've been the difference makers tonight.
You know, and you look back on it, and we've seen 2 or 3 hitch and goes for touchdowns or broken coverages or guys falling, and we haven't. I don't think we've seen Mark Grieve throw the ball past 30 yards tonight.
Grieve now over the middle again, and you get to see Ritchie in space a little bit, just upended. Nice play by Chris Brown. Well, Josh Ritchie, you see that number 6, you think of James Hunden.
Yeah, same size guys as far as size. He's a little bit stronger and bigger built than James Hunden. Hunden might be a little bit faster, but you're going to, you know, when you put on that number 6, you got some shoes to fill with James Hunden, and I think Josh Ritchie's the type of athlete and football player that can do it. 1st and 10,
Sabercats. The issue decided here, looking just to build some kind of offensive rhythm. Jason Gathers continues to run hard. And anytime Mark Grieve has to throw the ball 50 times in a game, that's not a good sign.
Not when you throw it 50 times and you only have 37 points. That's really that's a double whammy.
Gathers has caught the ball 17 times tonight. They're taking away the Sabercats' downfield passing game. Grieve rolling out of the pocket. And we were wise to get rid of that. No need for Mark to take a shot here.
And this is where I think after that breakdown is, you know, I would get Scott Rizzoff in the game. You're not saying you're conceding the loss, but it's inevitable right now at this point because of the time on the clock. But now you're going to get him a chance to play a little bit.
But Mark Grieve's a pretty proud guy. I think he's saying, look, you know, I'll be here in the good times, and I'll man the ship and go down with it even on the bad times. So you respect both angles of that conversation. Flags all over the place as New Orleans was offsides, and passing out to Gathers. I mean, the big worry is you don't want Grieve getting hurt, obviously.
Exactly.
As you head down to the 1-minute mark.
Because that's what you don't want. I mean, it's 72-37, and for you to lose your signal caller because of a cheap shot or a good pass rush at this point in the game would be, you know, ill-advised.
Offside, number 94 on the defense.
New Orleans offsides, but for the Sabercats going 3-3, what's disappointing is that their losses are to Chicago. They end up losing to Dallas and then lose tonight to New Orleans. I mean, 3 quality teams, and the VooDoo have had the Sabercats number all night long. One minute remaining, and the Sabercats having New Orleans really just kind of own the game. The 3 interceptions all turned into touchdowns. San Jose only 1 half stop, and yes, RIP. I don't know that I'd build the franchise around a cemetery theme, but it seemed to work out for the VooDoo here.
Yeah, especially, I mean, no other place could just work except for New Orleans because of the mystique and the VooDoo and the city of New Orleans and what they bring to the United States and the arena football. It can only pass RIP in New Orleans.
They call this place the graveyard, and it has been that way for visiting teams. And the VooDoo, along with the Hornets, the Saints, Sports helping rebuild New Orleans a little bit. Screen out to Gathers, getting a block from Josh Ritchie and getting a first down. I'll tell you the one thing on the screens that I've been impressed with, the Sabercat wide receivers block for each other. I mean, that's been a one building block, and the screens have been pretty well executed.
Yeah, that's one thing that I can remember when I was here. It was one of those things where I need to block for, James Hunt and Jerry Reese, Shalon Baker, because at some point I'm going to catch the screen and I want those guys blocking for me. And that's the attitude you take as a receiver, is you want done unto you as you're going to do the others.
The golden rule of receiving. On 1st and goal, Grebe dropping back, firing into the end zone and out of the hand of Bernard Santillo. That's as wide open as a receiver has been all night. Grebe the fastball, when the changeup probably would have worked fine.
And that tells you what kind of night it's been. I mean, Grebe's forced out of the pocket here, and he throws to Santillo, and it's a little behind him, and he tries with the one hand and couldn't grab it. And, that's as open as we've seen a receiver tonight, and we couldn't hit it, the one-on-none. And that's just the type of night it's been here in New Orleans.
Sabercats 44 points last week, and trying just to get to 40. This is a team that normally averages 60 points a game. They give it out to Gathers, putting his head down, and Jason Gathers into the end zone for the touchdown.
That's one thing that you can say about tonight. It's the score is over with and everything, but Jason Gathers has played an entire football game hard and as fast as he's been able to play it. And he has not quit all night long. This is determination. All he's going to do is run a little fly motion here. Grebe's going to flip it to him, and this is him just wanting to get in. He lowers that shoulder and gets in. And that's good work ethic, that he was taught at the University of Miami.
A.J. Haglin, it's a muffed PAT. Rizloff, they're going to throw it to Frank Carter. And the PAT not working. So just about everything for the Sabercats has gone awry with 45 ticks left. Well, the VooDoo defense, when you hold the Sabercats under 50, you have done something. When you come up with the 3 interceptions, even more impressive. And so our players of the game, brought to you by Netgear. The New Orleans defense, they lead the league in takeaways, lead the league in interceptions, lead the league in that plus minus. And the VooDoo had their mojo working tonight.
Yeah, when you hold the Sabercat team to 43 points and cause the 3 interceptions like they did and get the stops, it's only right that the defensive players of the game be that defense, because that's a tough thing to do.
Well, you bring up, and it's a former player in you kind of coming out, that Jason Gathers playing wire to wire here. 18 catches for 190 yards. I mean, that's a complete game. You do what you can do in the context of the team sport, and Gathers becoming more of a factor at the wide receiver spot.
Well, one thing he did tonight is he's going to make it hard when James Orr and Rodney Wright come back. You can't afford to sit the guy. He played hard, 19 catches.
Haglin bouncing, that's a live ball. And Santillo hustling down, but Tyron Jones able to get on top of it.
Going back to the Jason Gathers thing, I mean, the score is out. Most guys would, pack it in or go in because they don't want to get hurt or whatever. And 18 catches for 190 yards. What he did tonight is solidify himself as, I'm in the top 4. I'm in the top 3 of the receiving core of this football team.
Regardless of who's healthy.
Exactly.
And we just saw the beauty of arena football. He's down there covering kicks on special teams.
That he played wire to wire. You got to commend him.
Now, arena football in the final minute, you must advance the ball forward for the clock to run. Only needs even an inch forward, and Lynch was able to get that inch. Well, there's no kneeling down in arena football. Any backwards plays in the final minute, the clock stops. But New Orleans probably gonna have to snap it one more time. And maybe not, since they spotted the ball. For credit, the VooDoo moved to 5-1. They dropped the Sabercats to 3-3. And a convincing win by New Orleans. Beating up on San Jose. And since Mike New has changed quarterbacks, they've won 5 straight, and you get the feeling this is going to be kind of a playoff type of team where Sabercats may see them again. I want to thank our audience on KNTV NBC Channel 11 as the Sabercats drop one to the VooDoo on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Stay with us as the postgame show is your way. So 72-43, New Orleans handled the Sabercats tonight. San Jose has yet to win a regular season game in this building. Did win the Arena Bowl their last time here, but the VooDoo were the better team offensively, defensively, and the turnovers. They came up with 3 big ones. Sabercats dropped an interception, penalty and an interception, and could never really get into the takeaway mode to get back in the game.
Yeah, if you go back to my 3 keys of the game when we first started was which receiver is going to step up. Jason Gathers did that, which is a positive. Get to the VooDoo quarterback. Sabercats didn't do that, which is a negative, and win the turnover battle, which they didn't do. So with the 3 keys to the game, when you are on the negative side of 2 of them, you're not going to be successful in a football game.
And so for San Jose, they try to regroup and they go home to deal with the Philadelphia team who, oh, by the way, are undefeated. But this is exactly what the Sabercats did a year ago. Started 3-3, found their sea legs, got on a roll, started to smell it, won 13 in a row, and won the championship. Now, you don't want to always start 3-3, but the way the division looks, San Jose is likely to win that division, get into the playoffs, and it's just a matter of playing better and finding guys like Josh Ritchie, who was with PR director Phil Simon, going to be on the post-game show, and just finding a group of players and a way to play. I think getting the downfield passing taken away, that's something the Sabercats are going to have to adjust to.
Yeah, they're going to have to make some kind of adjustments because you touched on it. They've lost to Chicago, Dallas, and New Orleans. You're going to have to beat one of those teams to repeat as a champion. You're going to have to beat the good teams to get in, and until they can get their pass protection up front taken care of and their problem in the secondary, it's going to be games like this at certain times. I mean, you only scored 44 last week in Kansas City. You scored 43 this week. So offensively, you got some problems, and you've given up 70 and 58 and 59 already this year on defensively. So you're going to have to go back into the drawing board, into the coach's office, and figure out what you as a unit, as a whole team, need to do in order to right the ship.
I think also, too, you look at Chicago, at Grand Rapids, at Kansas City, at New Orleans. You've opened with 4 of the first 6 on the road, in addition to difficult opponents, 4 fairly lengthy road trips. Sabercats, at some point, are going to see a lot more home games.
Yeah, and you know, there's no place for the Sabercats to play like HP Pavilion. You know, they lost their last the meeting before against Dallas in there, and you know, which is uncommon. But here's the thing too: is Philadelphia is coming. You don't want to give up that second loss to another good team.
Darren Arbette standing by with Chris Townsend. It is time for